In the dance of influence, respect is a fragile currency. Sought after, begged for, bartered away at every turn. But true power does not kneel before admiration. It commands it. Imagine a classroom where the timid student pleads for acceptance, his voice cracking as he flatteringly echoes the teacher's own words. Contrast him with the one who speaks once, with unwavering conviction, and the room falls silent. Not because he asked for approval, but because he claimed it. This is the lesson. Never grovel for respect. Command it. From the playground to the boardroom, we see the same pattern. The teenager desperately swiping likes on social media by echoing popular opinions. The junior executive in endless coffees, flattering every superior to inch closer to recognition. The family member who smiles too often, anxious to prove their loyalty. All these souls mistake homage for honor. They mistake the echo of their own pleas for genuine awe. Machiavelli teaches us that the only true respect is that which springs from perceived strength, not feigned humility. First, understand this. Respect can be feigned, borrowed, stolen, even coerced. But commanded respect is earned by projecting an aura of inevitability. In every interaction, project the unspoken certainty that your presence is indispensable. Walk into a meeting as if the agenda were your design. Speak to elders as if their wisdom were enhanced by your youth. Approach strangers as if they've awaited your arrival. In each moment, act with the quiet confidence of one who expects the world to bend. Observe the power of scarcity. When you offer your time, your approval, your talents without limit, you dilute your value. The friend who is always available becomes forgettable. The colleague who volunteers for every task becomes burdensome. The youngster who laughs at every joke becomes tiresome. You must learn when to withhold. Decline invitations with strategic brevity. Choose silence over constant assent. When you vanish from familiar scenes, you leave an echo that lingers longer than any greeting. People remember the absence of warmth more vividly than its constant presence. Yet scarcity without substance is an empty threat. To command respect, you must back your absence with action. In the office, let your work speak in punctuated moments of brilliance. A presentation that stops conversation, a proposal that redefines the game. At home, let your commitments matter. When you speak, it carries the weight of promises kept. In social circles, let your insights cut through trivia, a single observation that reorients their perspective. These moments become legends, whispers that follow you into every room. But beware, command without care is tyranny, and tyranny breeds rebellion. Machiavelli reminds us that a prince must balance the sting of discipline with the balm of benevolence. If your every word demands obedience, you risk cultivating contempt. If you never smile, never soften, never allow vulnerability, you become a statue. Distant, unmoving, forgotten. True command respects the needs of others enough to guide them, not to crush them. Show occasional leniency. Reward loyalty with access. Elevate those who bolster your vision. In this, you transform subjects into allies, rather than rebels waiting in the wings. Relatability is the final thread that weaves respect into devotion. A leader who seems impossibly distant invites suspicion. A guide who never stumbles seems inhuman. Whether you are 14 or 74, people connect through shared flaws. Let them glimpse your struggles, once and only once in a while, so they see that your triumph emerges from toil, not magic. A sports captain revealing the scars of past defeats. The sportsman allows himself to be deceived. A CEO recounting the sleepless nights before a product launch. A parent sharing the fear of failing their child. These honest moments become mirrors in which others see themselves, fueling both empathy and respect. As you command respect, cultivate symbols of authority. Dress with purpose, a single well-chosen accessory that implies seriousness. A tailored jacket, an heirloom watch, a crisp pen. Speak with precision, eliminate filler words, let silence underscore your points, and reserve laughter as a strategic flourish. Arrange your surroundings, Let your workspace hint at order and ambition. Let your social media project only the facets of your life that reinforce your authority. These outward signs shape subconscious perceptions. People believe what their eyes accept. Remember the art of timing. A sharp word at the wrong moment humbles you as surely as a timid request. Observe the emotional temperature of every room. When tempers flare, employ calm detachment. When curiosity peaks, unleash a provocative question. When hope dims, offer a concise promise. In every ebb and flow, you position yourself as the anchor and the catalyst. This is the essence of command, the ability to steer collective emotion without ever appearing to struggle for control. Machiavelli warns against complacency. Once you have established commanded respect, sustain it through renewal. Predictability dulls reverence. Introduce new rituals, an unexpected gesture of generosity, a novel demonstration of expertise, an occasional break from routine that reminds others of your ingenuity. Like a seasoned performer, you must refresh the audience's sense of wonder. Do not allow them to settle into assumptions. Keep them poised on the edge of discovery. Yet even the most masterful exercise of power crumbles if disconnected from principle. Define your core values, however ruthless they may be. Integrity in execution, loyalty in your circle, excellence in every endeavor. Let these tenets guide your decisions so that when you command respect, it springs from a bedrock of consistency, not caprice. When others inquire why you never bend, you reply without apology that your cause is steadfast. And for causes beyond the personal, people are willing to sacrifice admiration for belonging. In the journey from seeker to commander, you will face resistance. Critics will label your methods cold, accuse you of ambition at the expense of empathy. Let them judge. The world remembers those who change its course, not those who ask permission. Stand firm in your conviction that respect is not a gift, but a response to perceived dominance. Each act of command, each reluctance to chase flattery, cements your legacy. And when you depart a room, let the silence be filled with the echo of your absence and the unspoken question, when will they return? This is Machiavelli's guide. Cast aside the brittle quest for respect that yields only hollow praises. Embrace the art of command, forged in calculated presence, strategic absence, and relentless demonstration of worth. Speak once, so they listen. Vanish when they forget. Act with such power that every allegiance becomes automatic, every challenge a stepping stone. In doing so, you transform respect from a fleeting favor into an enduring edict, one that no force can revoke and no competitor can match. And so, as the echoes of your commanded presence reverberate through every chamber you've ever graced, you must be prepared to evolve. Power, like the tide, advances and recedes. And those who fail to recognize its rhythm find themselves stranded on barren shores. Having forged respect through calculated absence and undeniable impact, your next challenge is to harness transformation, both in yourself and in the world you touch, so that every alliance feels your trajectory and every adversary fears your next move. Consider the smith who tempers steel. After the hammer falls, the blade is plunged into quenching waters, then heated again, then cooled once more. Each cycle hardens the edge, refines its shape, and tests its resilience. In the same way, you must cycle through phases of expansion and contraction. There will be periods when you aggressively stake your claim, announcing new ventures, taking bold public stands, or revealing visions that compel collaboration. These are your forges. Then there will be intervals of strategic silence, when you retreat into the shadows to observe, to plan, and to conserve your energies. These are your quenching ponds. Neither phase alone ensures strength. It is the interplay that yields a weapon unbreakable and an influence unassailable. When you embark on a new project or mission, treat it as a campaign of conquest. First, map the terrain. Identify the stakeholders, the power brokers, the informal networks that weave beneath the surface. Know who holds information, who holds resources, who holds grudges. Gather intelligence discreetly, through casual conversations, through social media signals, through financial filings that reveal hidden allegiances. The more you know, the more you can anticipate, and the less you appear to scramble for answers when challenges arise. Next, cultivate your vanguard, the inner circle of allies whose skills and loyalties you trust implicitly. These need not be the most flattering yes-men. Rather, recruit those who dare to tell you truths you may not want to hear, those who possess complementary strengths, and those whose own respect, commending reputations, bolster your own. Elevating such individuals creates a ripple. Observers notice that your camp is populated by winners, and by extension, they assume you are the grand architect of their success. Reward these lieutenants materially when possible, through opportunities, visibility, or shared spoils, and immaterially always, through public endorsement of their achievements. Your magnanimity in distributing glory secures their fealty, even as they bask in their own command. As your campaigns unfold, remember that symbols stir the imagination far more powerfully than data. Numbers may persuade, but stories inspire. Thus, wrap your initiatives in narrative. Invite your audiences into a plot where they play pivotal roles. Cast them as the daring vanguard, the indispensable advisors, the custodians of a legacy. The human mind craves meaning. When you offer a story of transformation, of underdogs becoming empires, of ideas shattering complacency, of communities galvanized by purpose, you awaken energies that no spreadsheet can capture. From the factory floor to the C-suite, from the classroom to the living room, every cohort feels the magnetic pull of a legend, and your legend is the catalyst. Yet narrative without authenticity crumbles under scrutiny. Machiavelli understood that even the most marvelous facade must rest on structural integrity. Therefore, forge verifiable milestones. If you promise innovation, deliver prototypes. If you promise efficiency, publish measurable improvements. If you promise community impact, document lives changed. These tangible proofs become your foot soldiers, wandering into skeptical corners and whispering, "See for yourself." Over time, repeated demonstrations of your capacity to fulfill bold promises create an aura of inevitability. Opponents no longer argue against you. They hedge their positions, hoping to ride the coattails of your unfolding success. In personal relationships, be they familial, romantic, or platonic, the same mechanics apply. To command respect without seeking it, maintain an air of gently withheld approval. Offer praise sparingly to those whose merits truly warrant it, otherwise let your reserve speak louder. When others vie for your attention, select them with deliberation. By choosing when and whom to engage, you convey that your time is the rarest of commodities. Is it the right time? Nor a safe theory either, so long as you do not interrupt long enough for the commodities glimpsed to dissipate. Yet, once chosen, be fully present, listen with intensity, invest emotionally, and demonstrate that your scarce approval, once granted, is both valued and enduring. People remember the moments when you leaned in, more than the times you leaned away. As seasons change, adapt your style. A general who wields the same tactics in peace and in war soon finds defeat inevitable. In moments of crisis, when stability trembles, display the unshakable resolve of the sentinel. Speak in even tones, act with swift precision, and let the world know you alone stand unwavering. But in eras of growth and abundance, adopt the generosity of the wise sovereign. Extend patronage, sponsor talents, and invest in building infrastructures, networks of loyalty that outlast any fleeting triumph. By matching your demeanor to the demands of the hour, you ensure that respect remains commanded, never cajoled. Never neglect the subtle power of ritual. Rituals bestow meaning to the mundane, transforming routine into reverent practice. Create signature actions that become inseparable from your identity, a trademark greeting, a distinctive method of delivering feedback, a recurrent gathering that convenes your most trusted circle. These rituals are signposts. They signal continuity, they anchor your followers, and they broadcast your presence even in your absence. When you skip a ritual, the ripple of its omission is felt keenly, renewing appreciation for its significance, and by extension, for you. Still, be wary of overexposure. Every phenomenon, when taken for granted, loses its potency. Just as the moon enchants only when it contrasts against the dark sky, your power shines brightest against the backdrop of occasional obscurity. After rituals serve their purpose, deliberately omit them. When a pattern emerges, break it. Surprise confers fresh attention. Unpredictability reawakens respect. If people expect you to celebrate quarterly achievements with grand banquets, instead close the books in silence, then convene only the inner circle for a modest toast. The abrupt change renews curiosity. Participants wonder what has shifted, what new priorities drive your decisions, and in that wonder, they reaffirm your centrality. A cornerstone of commanded respect is the judicious use of constraint. Freedom in excess breathes chaos. Freedom, tethered by subtle boundaries, fosters creativity. Impose edges on interactions. Set clear agendas for meetings. Allocate defined windows for consultations. Nullify off-topic digressions with polite redirections. These constraints may feel restrictive to some, yet they are the framework within which productivity and clarity flourish. By structuring environments, you not only optimize outcomes, but also convey that your oversight ministers to order, a quality universally revered. Moreover, master the art of symbolic victory. In every conflict, there are battles worth fighting and skirmishes better left to the wind. Choose your confrontations to amplify your strength. A well-timed rebuttal in public cements your authority more effectively than continuous challenges. Conversely, conceding minor disputes with grace demonstrates confidence. Your willingness to overlook petty slights signals that only significant affronts merit your ire. This selective fierceness sharpens the edges of your persona. People learn not to provoke you, and those who experience your mercy afterward feel profound loyalty. Throughout these strategies, maintain your core principle. Respect is not a trophy to be displayed, but gravity to be felt. A planet never celebrates its own mass. Its pull is recognized by the orbits that heed its force. Likewise, your true power is observed by the trajectories of those who align themselves with you, and by the hesitance of those who cross your path. Cultivate self-governance. Be the sovereign of your impulses, the master of your moods. Anger, when channeled, can be a weapon. When unleashed indiscriminately, it becomes a liability. Joy, when shared, fosters bonds. When flaunted incessantly, it erodes the allure of your composure. Let every emotion serve a strategy, every expression a purpose. As twilight approaches the final act of your leadership, consider your legacy. Respect commanded today echoes in the annals of tomorrow, only if it bequeaths structures that endure. Mentorship becomes your greatest endowment. Identify rising talents, impart strategic wisdom, and entrust them with responsibilities that test and refine their mettle. By cultivating successors, you guarantee that your command outlasts your tenure. Even in retirement or in absence, your influence persists through the institutions you shaped, the leaders you molded, and the principles you embedded. And when at last you step aside, let your final departure be a crescendo. Arrange a farewell that underscores your impact, not as a plea for fondness, but as a confirmation of your irrevocable mark. Present a parting gift of vision, a blueprint for continuity, a challenge that ignites new ambitions, or a narrative that frames your tenure as the prologue to an even grander chapter. The silence left in your wake should hum with possibility, and the memory of your guidance should pulse through the efforts of those who inherit your mantle. Thus, by commanding respect through presence, absence, substance, and symbolism, you craft a destiny that transcends ephemeral praise. You become not a footnote, but an epoch, not a seeker of admiration, but the source of unspoken allegiance. This is Machiavelli's ultimate counsel: to wield respect not as a fleeting favor, but as an elemental force, one that shapes the currents of human endeavor, bends the trajectory of ambition, and endures beyond the mortal coil. In mastering these arts, you ensure that your name is not merely remembered, but revered, and that respect, once commanded, becomes your immortal inheritance.